Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be discussing one of the frequently asked questions with Eva Hussain, Polaron's director and founder. That question is about where do you find information about your family if you're not sure exactly where they're from? So Eva, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
I can, and thank you, Stephanie. So it is one of the most frequently asked questions because sometimes people don't know where somebody comes from. So the information they might have on the family can be a bit sketchy. Maybe they will potentially struggle with how the name is spelled or where the family comes from. And also, there are many potentially towns or villages with the same name. So what I was hoping to show everybody today is how to find your ancestors if you know very little about them. And I mean, it is a bit of a hit and miss, and I might not be able to show you everything, but it is a matter of exploring and just having a look at some of the resources that are available online and being patient, persistent, and really diligent in where you're looking and what you're looking for. So let me just share my screen with everyone now, and I'm going to be showing you a couple of things. The first one is, and I absolutely love this resource, is a map of Poland. And it's a very strange map of Poland because it shows how the borders shifted in 1939. So historically, when Poland regained independence in 1918, in November of 1918, they were given, borders which are not like the borders of Poland today. So what you're seeing there on the screen with the purple line, I'll just go over that, is the Poland of today. So this is the Baltic Sea, this is Czech Republic, this is Germany, Lithuania, Latvia, and this says USSR because we're looking at the borders of the past, yeah? And the white sections that are bordered by the purple line was Germany, and same here. So this whole area was also Germany. Poland had very little access to the sea, just here. And now everything's changed. So these are the Polish borders of today. But in 1945, when the war ended and, the world leaders sat down there with a ruler and kind of, divided Europe, Poland lost a massive area of its territory. So all this green that you see here was gone completely. Even though it was Poland prior to 1939, it stopped being part of Poland, and it no longer is. And of course, for many of our clients, their families come from these very areas, and finding documents from over there can be a little bit tricky for a couple of reasons. And one is because today this is Belarus, Ukraine, sometimes Lithuania, sometimes Ukraine, Russia, etc. And those archives can be a little bit difficult to deal with because of language skills, but also because not everything is digitalized. And in fact, very little is digitalized over there. So when you are looking for records online, or even offline, if you wanted to write to the archives, it's really important to know where your family comes from, because if you don't, you might be looking in the wrong place. So today I'm going to show you how all of that works. So on this map, you can see how the borders change. Here, you can see how the country was divided prior to 1939. So these administrative divisions are prior to, so the voivodeships or the provinces are listed as they were as of 1939, just to make it a bit easier to find things. Mm-hmm. So, of course, Wileńskie, which is Vilnius, or Wołyńskie, which is Volhynia, do not belong to Poland anymore. Mm-hmm. And a couple of others, right? But there are some that were not Poland are now, so it's kind of everything's included to make it easier to search. And here you can see also the Roman Catholic divisions, so of the parishes or, church or religious divisions. For the Catholic Church and Orthodox, or, in Polish, it's called Greek Catholic Church, yeah? So there's a couple. So you can, of course, go in here and have a look. So again, there are smaller units, so the counties, and if you click into it, you'll see communes or smaller divisions yet again, and this is a town. So when I click on it, it'll show you on the map of what it looks like. It's a very, very detailed map. It shows rivers, it shows villages, even tiny little places with, 5 people. So over here, I don't know if you can see, but that's the number of people that lived in. So in Augustov, there was, at the point that this map was made, there was about 1,000 people. In this one, there's 4, yeah? But you can go up and down on this map. It's a bit slow to load, but give me a second. To kind of orient yourself on the map as well.
Yeah.
And of course, the other interesting thing is that there are many places with the same name, but that's another story. So this particular, this particular Augustov is not the one that everybody knows about. That's in the Lakes district in Poland. This is near Grodno, which is now Belarus, right?
Mm.
On the map, you can see how far it is towards the border and how far it is from other major towns. So if you go up, you can see exactly where that is on the map as well. So you can have a go at trying to kind of decipher there's lots of detail here as well. Yeah. So the other function of this system of this website is that if you do not know the spelling of the town that your family comes from, it's got a couple of functionalities here that will help you find it. So let's say we go to Grodno, which was a prominent town, and it still is. So that's the correct spelling. And if I click direct, you'll find it, okay? And it'll tell you exactly where it's located, what voivodeship, and just remember that this is prior to the war. So that's why it says what it says, okay? And it'll show you on the map where it is, and you can also work out which parish, which Roman Catholic parish it is, yeah? Okay. And that's quite easy to do. And everybody knows Grodno. So I'm gonna try another town, which I know the spelling of, which is that. And it's not found anything because there is a Polish letter that I didn't type in here, so which is L. And if I don't have the Polish characters, then I won't be able to find it. So that's why sometimes what you have on your documents, and your English language documents wouldn't have any Polish characters. So you might think, okay, well, why can't I find it? So what you can do is click on similar. So this is like, what you hear, and let's see what happens. And there you go, and we found it. And you can see here on the left that there's a description. So there's a city of Tłumacz, and that's got the correct character, and also the manor, which is a smaller kind of village next to it. But as you can see, it's also found things that look or sound similar. Yeah, so you can see that it's a very different spelling. Well, it's got a O instead of a U here. So it's also found it because sometimes it might actually be this town and not that town that you want. But let's have a look at the city of Tłumacz, and there we go. And all the parishes are listed here, and you can actually have a look at where things are on this map. All right. If you're really, really unsure of what something was called, or a village or a place, you can do, if you click on rough, it'll expand the search even further. So let's have a look what happens. And it's found places that are completely not like the city that we're looking for. But that is because the expansion of the potential sounds that a word like that create is greater. So that is why it's come up with that. But it's a really good and useful thing to do if you really don't know where your family comes from. But let's say you do. And we'll put these links, by the way, under the video so you can find them easy. Let's say you do know where your family comes from, and let's say it's from former Ukraine. This database has got some records. So often when people think of Poland, if their families come from there, it is assumed that records are destroyed. And it's actually one of the biggest myths, because they do exist. Some are digitalized, some are not digitalized. You know, they sit in books, in archives, and you need to write to the archives directly. But this database, which is Polish Genealogy Association, does have some records. I wanted to show you what it does have. All right, so let's say my family comes from Ukraine, and we go here. And let's say my family's name was Kowalski, which is like Smith, one of the, probably the most popular Polish surname. Let's see what we can find in this database. Okay, so we found a lot of things, and you can switch to English, so I'll show you just to make it easier. Because this database got 3 types of records. It's got births, marriages, and deaths, okay? And some of them, as you can see here, have got scans, which is very exciting. And you can put a range of years here, and you can also search exactly, and you know, you can put a few different qualifiers here to help you hone in a bit more. But let's have a look. So, you know, these records go back 400 years, by the way, so
Wow.
1611. And there is a Dorota Kowalski in the city or the parish of Brody. So let's have a look what we find. Okay. So this is a very old document, and it's in Latin. Why is it in Latin? Because that was the language of registration of records back then. So when we see documents like that, we would get our Latin translator to tell us what it says. But somewhere amongst this, Dorota's birth certificate is. So, I don't know where, but it's somewhere here. All right, so let's have a look what else we can say. This is really rare. Like, it's not usual that you would be able to find somebody's record that goes back 400 years. Firstly, because they were not so commonly registered back then, and also because, you know, they may have been destroyed. But maybe we'll look at something a bit more recent. Let's have a look. It'll load, I promise. Okay, so let's have a look at, and as you can see, sometimes you have scans and sometimes you do not, okay? So let's have a look at 1827, and this is Karol Kowalski. These are his parents, and that's the town that he comes from. All right, so we got access to the entire book of births, okay? And it's a Roman Catholic book. So, you know, often I talk about it. So this is a real privilege to actually show you what it looks like. It's just loading, so I'll wait for that. So that's the cover of the book, 1827, okay? And in that book, in that very ancient book, all these records are actually, you know, kept. So I'll show you the first page as well. It is loading. All right. And this is actually in the Polish language. It's a, you know, it's a language where, you know, we're going back to 100 years, so it's a little bit antiquated, but it's very clearly written. And people's births are listed, and of course handwritten. And what we do is, when we find records like that, we, you know, transcribe them. So you can get a copy of this if you know your family happens to be in that book, or you can get a current day birth certificate. So just to summarize, if you're looking for a place that your family comes from, so to be able to work out where to look for the record, this is the website. If you're looking for the actual records, this is the place to look at. Jewish records are normally not here because these are divided into parishes mostly. And you can straight away see if there's a scan of your record. If there isn't, it might mean that the record's there in that particular parish, but you have to write to them. It's just not been digitalized. So here you have it, Stephanie. That's how you find the place that your family comes from. And this is where some of the records sit.
Thank you so much, Eva. Yeah, I think that will be very helpful to a lot of people watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.